Hello and welcome. Welcome to session number 8 of my Navigate the Narcissist 6-week co-parenting coaching course designed to go along with individual coaching sessions so that you can answer the questions, get some self-reflection. I'm here to give you some emotional support. Hi, I'm Grace Wroldson. I'm a mother, author, survivor, thriver, certified life coach. I help moms strategize who are in high conflict custody battles or co-parenting with narcissists. I have several books, including Co-Parenting with a Narcissist, 7 Self Rules to Stay Sane. These are intended to give you some emotional support just so that you know you're not alone, someone who has gone through it. Hopefully, this will bring you out of emotional thinking into common sense and applying logic, into becoming more reasonable, rational, into getting a new perspective on your situation. So please watch all 12 of these videos. It's designed for you to do them twice a week. If you're following along and doing the homework, you're answering the questions and reading the books, so that you get a full perspective on how I kept having to shift my mind to the positive, shift my mind to what will win and what will work, shift my mind so that I'm a healthy, happy person and a good example for my child, shift my mind to survive in the situation with family court granting parenting rights and requiring that we co-parent with a narcissist. That is often a contradiction of terms. So my tip for this one is, there's a fight, find someone who fights. If it's family law, find a family law lawyer. I made many mistakes, and one of them was I didn't get the right lawyer. I got a lawyer who was not an expert in family law because logistically I couldn't afford it. Looking back now, I wish I had taken a loan and called around and done the consultations that I needed. So learn from the mistakes we have made so that you don't have to make them and learn the hard way. This is the Navigate method that I've created. I'm a mom, I'm not a professional, but this Navigate method was basically just how I got through it. And you can get through this and you can come out stronger than before and better off. So the Navigate is not doing it alone, safeguarding your custody case, moving from victim, knowing you're a survivor, and doing small parts of thriving, even if you have to circle back to surviving. Be in the know of tactics, and so you can reduce your triggers and traumas, gathering your evidence, documenting like a pro, acknowledging mistakes and weaknesses, taming our emotions and reactions so we respond with people who are supporting us on this journey, and we stay sane, have our reality validated, no more gaslighting, getting everything in writing, not engaging in the ego battles, so that we can enjoy our time with our child and focus on what matters, which is building bonds, trust, memories, loving each other. Yeah, you have to do this while you're under all kinds of stress and possibly attacks or false allegations, while you're grieving the loss of your relationship and your dreams and your hopes. So be easy on yourself if you're going through this, and watch videos 1 through 7. Do the worksheets. Even if you write down one sentence to each question, you have done some introspection and some self-reflection, which is really key to change. Got to know what's going on. So read my disclaimer below in the video description. I'm not a therapist. This isn't a substitute for the much needed therapy and help in these situations with a toxic individual. And I'm not a lawyer or a paralegal, but that's what we're going to talk about today, is the lawyers and the paralegals. Like and subscribe, come to my website, see all my books that I have written about my journey and my story. Read my survivor story because it's survivor wisdom. I write them in self-help versions. So if you read my chapter title, it is like pointing towards how I helped myself. So it isn't just all the drama, trauma, chaos, and it's not his drunk log, and it's not my list of abuse that I survived. It's self-help style. So hope you can learn from my story and my lessons. This is my Get the Right Lawyer guide. It's a helpful PDF, talks about why the judge is so important. Your lawyer and the judge is important. If it doesn't feel like a a legal process and it feels more like a war and a battle, then you will need the appropriate things to go into battle. So when there's a hard line drawn, which is what we often do when we say no to more time or no to the abuse, there's potentially a battle brewing for their own self-esteem that gets shattered, and they don't like the word no. And typically narcissists are abusers, or we're afraid of them and we feel threatened. So the way to level the playing field is to get someone who deals with them and is a pro in high conflict family court, and that's what they do. That's all they do. And that can be so helpful. You don't want your tax attorney to be your family law professional. It will cost more, it'll take longer, you could lose like I did, and then have to come back for a comeback and win. But if you do things right off the bat, you've got a more solid case and you're getting better advice. So please use my worksheets. And an example, the worksheets have you listing what you want, you asking questions if they are a family law expert. The worksheets in the back of that guide really can help you get prepared for these interviews. If they're free consultations or $300, $700 consultations, you can get the whole strategy that lawyer would use on your case. And you can learn what your rights are because you're asking the right questions, like, what are my rights? Is it going to be automatic 50-50? If he's abusive, does that matter in my state? And what are my protections? Is there YMCA supervised transfers? What do I document? How do I prove this? So that, because every state, every judge is different, these cases come out so differently. So like there's a saying, you walk into 20 courthouses in the US, you will walk out with 20 different orders, 20 different decisions. You get 20 different judges, they have 20 different takes on the situation. There's biases, there's court corruption, there's all kinds of things that we face and we go up against. So you have to know and find out what's going on in your area. Who are the judges? Who are the top lawyers in the area? Who are the custody evaluators? Who's corrupt? If you can read reviews, and that's what I did. I researched these people, read their reviews, called other lawyers to ask about other lawyers. What do you think of this person? Found out who was a shark and who was the judge thought was ridiculous. So all of that was stuff that I did by calling and asking. So that's important. So you need proper, competent representation for a family court custody battle. And some of us have many lawyers, because we start with a lawyer who is free from the DV agency and we get like 3 free trials. Then we end up finding a lawyer who has a very low retainer, but then they're not very good in the court battle. Then we get a lawyer that's more expensive. Some of us have spent over $100,000 to win. A lot of the mothers that do win have spent the most in legal fees. The mothers who have lost usually don't have a lawyer. So find the right lawyer for you. And if there's abuse, you might be able to get a free lawyer through the local DV agency. And don't just stop at the local one. Maybe you have to call the next town over. Be creative, be resourceful. And even if you have to call those agencies and ask which lawyers typically their clients are represented by, that have experience with DV and know which filings matter to a judge, ask. You've got to interview people, places, and things to get educated on the subject if you're heading in, and use those worksheets to be prepared for the meetings. Go in with 20 things that you want, because that can be helpful for the lawyer to focus on the 20 things that you want in order of importance. And lead with what you want, because that's what the lawyer is going to try to ask for, and that's what you're going to position yourself to have. So you want to be going in with requests and offense as well as defense. So that's what this is about. You want to focus as much on offense as defense. You want to make the most out of the legal consultations. Do some side learning on YouTube. I did that ahead of time. I watched some videos about family law, family court, got my own personal education of like, what am I stepping into and what should I do and shouldn't I do? But when you talk to lawyers and you do like at least 3 consultations, you want to talk strategy, logistics, practicality, common sense, logic. Don't spend the entire session complaining about it. You know, say you're concerned for your child's physical safety, your child's sexual safety, whatever you're concerned about. I have these concerns based on these incidents, top 5 incidents, top 3 incidents, dates, times, pictures, but then go in focused on solutions. I know that I spent a lot of my consultations calling desperate and just listing all the things that are happening to my child. And that's not going to get a very productive hour. You're going to get bogged down in the drama, the trauma, and the chaos. But if you organize your thoughts beforehand, if you have a life coach, if you have coaching, if you have a DV counselor, a therapist, and you organize your thoughts beforehand, that can really help you save on legal fees. And one time I had a mother who was so emotionally destabilized that every lawyer she called wouldn't take her because all she called with was the trauma. And that was important for her to get out of the trauma and just say, my daughter had this, 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 I would like this, and this, period. If she jumped into a story, it was so crazy that a lawyer could smell high conflict and craziness, and they didn't want to take such a high conflict, crazy case with so many problems. So she had to learn to manage what she said and get very clear so that it was an easier case for lawyers to take. Do ask them what you need to be doing for them and for your case. Like, they'll tell you what you need to be documenting and what will be relevant and what papers you need, and get a binder. Start putting your case like a paralegal would into a binder, referencing in tabs. Being disorganized can make your thoughts and emotions disorganized. So simplify. Buy a filing cabinet just for family court. That's what I do. I have just a nice big cabinet for family court. And, so does the judge. And ours takes up 3 shelves, and so do my lawyers. It takes up entire banker's boxes just for 1 year. So simplify, get organized, and ask them how they'll answer your questions if you retain them. So you're going to use that worksheet and ask all those 20 questions. How will they, do you email them and wait 3 days for a response? Some want you to text them and call them. So find out how you're going to get your questions answered when you're picking an attorney. Utilize the consultations. You can't afford an attorney, find free legal consultations, and then ask if any of them do pro bono work. Ask if there's any free legal aid services that you can apply for. Ask what the strategy would be. Get clues. What if they tell you, okay, if you pursue child support in court, he will get 50% custody. Maybe that's why you don't go to family court. Like I said, not all cases benefit from family court. And sometimes the piece you need is found on the other side of a family court battle. So it all depends in your situation. I don't recommend self-representation. The people that do that, I know, do self-representation up to the point of a trial, hire a lawyer for the trial. So there can be strategies. If you know this is going to go on and on, you might self-represent until the trial comes, and ask an attorney if they would just represent you at a trial. Why do I say this? Because self-representation is too difficult, too emotional, and too much to handle while being a mom, unless you've got all that extra time to learn the legal ins and outs of family court. You don't know the choreography of court. You don't know how to question a person on the stand. You don't know legal words. You're not a family law expert. So even family law experts have a hard time with going up against narcissists because they're so tricky. So I don't recommend self-representation even if you're getting backup help. I've seen moms lose because the ex file hires an attorney, and they lose because paperwork evidence wasn't submitted in the proper way. You can lose because you don't know what you're doing. So, like my lawyer said, you could 100% be telling the truth and lose in family court. You can be 100% lying and win in court. So it's not a straight line. You can't just walk in and say he's abusive and think the judge knows and cares and will do anything about it. And it is more like a winding road with a lot of detours and stalls and continuances and all kinds of tricks and tactics to get their clients off the hook. So it's important that you get a family law expert, even if you have to do these consultations. But get some clues in those consultations on what you need to be doing and maybe who can help you. Because your lawyer can help you safeguard your custody case if they've been working with people who have lost doing certain things. So know what you should and shouldn't be doing. Your lawyer should be able to tell you if they say use Family Wizard or a different parenting app or email. Do it. Do what your lawyer and your court order says. And you might need your lawyer if there is child abuse. You might need to be filing motions. If you ask a high conflict attorney that does this all the time, they will have some best practices, and maybe that's what you ask them. You want a session of best practices that they see that the judge likes to see. It's not enough to post on a message board or a community for advice on what to do in a court case, because you need the right people for the right advice. And you need someone that actually knows the judge, the state, the laws. Yeah, there's best interest factors, but there's like 100 other things that could be thrown at you besides that and can sway a judge. So they might tell you to do all your parenting time, play nice and be nice to the narcissist, and document things organized with day of the week, time, and evidence. That's what they might tell you to do. And then that's your job. And the lawyer's job is to get the dates, the paperwork in the mail and respond correctly, you doing paperwork on time. So you have a job and they have a job. And it's always better, just like in medicine, to get a specialist. You don't go to your toe doctor for brain surgery. You don't go to the tax accountant for family law high conflict cases. You definitely want to get a specialist when it comes to medical, and a specialist when it comes to custody battles with narcissists, especially if there's children abuse, neglect, parental alienation. If you're in that power and control wheel, this having the right attorney can dampen your ex's. It can change their behavior. They might not want to mess with you. Just like in nature, animals each develop a strategy to survive. Some fish can electrocute. Some fish can throw out black clouds of ink that burns eyes and creates a diversion. We have survival skills in things. We have camouflage. Animals will have camouflage to blend in. You will need a lawyer, most likely a high conflict family court lawyer expert pro, to deal with surviving a family law custody battle. It makes sense. I say it 100 times. When I couldn't get a lawyer and I couldn't find one, I had called 11 lawyers, but I had done it from an emotional state without sitting down and really saying, what is it I want? How do I say this to a lawyer so they don't just say, oh my God, it's too crazy? And I reached out to a lawyer who's famous for giving help on how to represent yourself. I'm like, I can't get a lawyer. This is my situation. I don't have the money, blah, blah, blah. And he just said, go ask 11 more because eventually you'll get a yes. So that's what you have to do. If you've gotten 10 no's, okay, go ask for 10 more, and maybe change the way you're asking. So change your approach. Maybe you can take out $1,000 loan and then offer that to a lawyer to get you started. So find a way. If it means that your children are going to be taken from you or abused, we have to find a way, ask around. So some lawyers will work for free. There's even a mom that offered cleaning the lawyer's house for 6 months in exchange for representation. I mean, get creative, find a way, because you will need help. Don't be afraid to ask. There are people that will do bartering and exchanges, and don't be afraid to, if you've already consulted with them, ask again. Maybe they were buried in a big case and now their time has opened up. And you can always educate yourself on YouTube and with other attorneys offering free legal advice on difficult family law situations. But do this for both you and your child. I do encourage moms to get legal consultations, get a lawyer, give their lawyer, I don't know, a 3 months, 6 months, a year trial before they decide if the lawyer is effective or not. So this is a big decision that you may have to make. You may never thought you would be in a custody battle or using a lawyer or ever need a lawyer because you're a cooperative, nice person. Narcissists end up in court all the time. This is what happens to them, and we have to go through it too. This does help us step into our strength and truth, and getting represented is like having a buffer and a firewall. You can start, if you haven't already done the homework and the readings, you can start with my first book, Co-Parenting with a Narcissist, 7 Rules to Stay Sane. It is about sanity. Keep your sanity, maintain your sanity. You have to get through the insanity. Use the serenity prayer, which are in my books, the sanity prayer that I've written, and focus on keeping that and blocking out craziness and doing what your lawyer says. Your job is to do what your lawyer says and be that great parent. Book number 2 is How to Fight a Narcissist in Family Court and Win, Super Smart Strategies for Success. You see me going from a victim of a family court failure and me not having the right lawyer into having the right lawyer and changing my custody case and going on strategies versus stressing out and winging it. So strategy is the way, and you got to talk logistics. Can you afford certain things? How can you afford certain things? So you'll have to figure out how you're going to back up affording the lawyer. So talk logistics too. My third book is Co-Parenting with a Sociopath, Survival and Sanity Guide. When you're in survival mode, if you've lost, if you've won, you're being attacked, sometimes it's good to fly under the radar and focus on safety and survival. I highly encourage you to work with a DV counselor behind the scenes, in secret, privately, and develop safety plans with a safe plan advocate, because you may need that. You may need to have a camera focused on your car to catch any vandalism after court battles. I've had those things happen to me. It's not pleasant. So when you win, you really lose. So it's important for your safety to be number one, you and your child's safety. My fourth book is an ebook right now, but might be a paperback when you're watching this full course, How to Survive a Custody Battle with a Narcissist When the Family Courts Force You to Co-Parent. These are my blogs turned book. I was writing on topics after doing free consultations to moms, seeing what it is they're really struggling with in their mind and in their battles. So yeah, go ahead and pick up one of those. If you're following along with these videos, 1 through 8 now, you can read up to chapter 2 of Co-Parenting with a Sociopath. Doing this self-learning, self-educating can be so supportive for you. You are not alone. And please stay to watch number 9. So you can join me on many of my Facebook groups. One of them is Co-Parenting with a Narcissist Support Group for Moms. I hope to see you there. You can post anonymously, please, to protect your case. Know that you can come out stronger than before. You can outgrow your problems, so keep learning, healing, and growing. Other videos I have are Co-Parenting with a Narcissist, 8 Common Mistakes Moms Make. Sometimes we're just mistakenly thinking the wrong thing. And another one is Creating Peace, Co-Parenting with a Narcissist. So yeah, even if we have to go to battle and do a war, we really ought to be striving towards peace, even if that's happening. While that's happening, other things are playing out. We do want the goal to be peace. So your position, your mindset, your outlook, and habits and the climate will affect the child. So make it a peaceful climate, even if family court is part of your story. If there's co-parenting abuse, which there usually is if you're standing up, it's the abuse that people can't see. It's all kinds of tricks and tactics. I do have a downloadable PDF that has a bunch of them, so that you can really circle the ones that apply. If you have a name, you can be less triggered. And if you can name it, you have more power over it. So this is a flying monkey. This is a minion. That's triangulation. That's weaponizing the child. It's important to be able to name what it is that's happening instead of panicking. Know what it is you're fearful about, and it's totally normal to be triggered and afraid when someone is attacking you. So don't beat yourself up, and learn not to take it personally. This is what they do when they're backed into a corner, when they have to cover a lie. This is the types of things that they do, and there are counter maneuvers to a lot of these. Some of them, the only thing you can do is ignore it, notice it, label it, list it on your Google document of types of abuse with the date and time and the evidence, so that you can show this type of abuse to your lawyer and see if it can be used in your court trial. But being able to name it is really key. So join me on YouTube, subscribe if you like these videos. I have a Patreon link. You can donate to my cause of helping mothers and women dealing with some really hard topics. So I help mothers who are co-parenting with a narcissist in custody battles know they're not alone, provide them emotional support and some good advice. This advice is, please get legal advice somehow, some way. Don't go in naive and ignorant and green and uneducated. Take the time to do it, even if you've got to do one video a week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you were here. Please stay for the rest of this and learn all that you can. I hope this encouraged you to get the help that you need. Thanks so much.